Right, so the Year 9 Season 2.3 patch notes are here. Sorry I am a bit late to this, I was on a flight, so time zones are a bit crazy and everything. But for a mid-season patch, this is pretty good. There are some substantial operator changes in it. Nothing that I was expecting for this season. I kind of hoped a little bit more considering how lackluster it's been. But all in all, pretty good, probably some stuff you've already seen. And the first one here is for Azami. Now, they did give some stats about how her Kiba barrier destruction rates used to be before her nerf. So that used to be 56% damage from explosives, and 44% of destruction came from melee attacks. Now, of course, in Year 9 Season 1, they changed it so you could destroy it with bullets, and that has changed from 42% to explosives, 29% melee, and 28% bullets. And basically what they are doing is that they are just nerfing the Kiba barriers even more to make bullets more substantial damage towards them. And there is a big massive list of weapons. I'm not going to read all of them out, but by the looks of it, it's pretty much every gun in the game. One of the most substantial ones by the looks of it is 150% by the CSRX 300, which is Kali's sniper. So Kali is going to be a much stronger counter to Azami now. But yeah, the main thing to take from that is just the fact that Kiba barriers have now been nerfed even more. Still think she's going to be useful. Like, I've came across Azami so many times since the original nerf, and she's still amazing, so I don't think that's going to change her in any way. It's just going to make bullets much more viable, and this will probably be something that they continue to adjust as time goes on. Right, this next one is a nerf for Buck, which I honestly didn't see coming, considering, yes, is probably one of the strongest attackers in the game, but wasn't oppressively strong, still required skill, and was an all-round balanced operator in my opinion. But they have removed the Gun 6 from his loadout. Now, this is fine, he's still going to be an amazing operator, and they say the reason why they have done this was because he was already strong enough, so he was already getting that pick, and the fact that he had the Gun 6 was therefore overshadowing other destruction operators. But I think that's personally a bit unnecessary considering there's still so much stuff on defense which needs Gun 6 and needs these other destruction operators, that Buck having the Gun 6 didn't overshadow them, he was just in addition to them. So I don't know how I feel about this. If they're going to nerf Buck, I think they should focus on buffing Sledge as well, like maybe give him the Gun 6 or even another secondary SMG like he used to have, the SMG 11 back. I just don't think we're in the avenue right now of needing to nerf operators such as Buck. I mean, I get it, but I don't think this is the time for that. And I don't know, I just didn't really want to see him get any changes in the near future. This one is quite a funny one. Echo has received a, not necessarily a nerf or a buff, but I guess a rebalance. He's now back to being a 1-speed, back like how he used to, and also has the ACOG again. So we have went full circle and went all the way back to how Echo was many, many years ago. This one I guess is fine. I kind of liked how Echo was because you could also play the playstyle of having the shotgun as well, and you can still do that now. I feel like we're kind of going back into the way of nerfing scopes again and just throwing the ACOG around like it used to. So now Echo now has the ACOG, and as you'll see, another operator has lost the ACOG. It just kind of feels like we've went back to how we've always been with throwing scopes around, and I feel like that's just something that we're never going to get over. And they also say that they are investigating additional changes for the yokai drones in the background. I don't know, I think Echo's fine, I think his yokais are fine. I don't really think we need to start touching Echo. I don't know, it's fine. I feel like we're kind of at this stage where I don't even want magnified scopes on defense, because I just feel like it's a balancing nightmare. And a lot of this patch note is kind of going back to how things used to be. Like, this Echo change is going back to old Echo, and we'll just use this as a transition to the next one. Ela has lost observation blockers and now has her impact nades back, which is how original Ela used to be. She used to be known for her impacts, so the fact that they are back now is kind of crazy. I do think it's quite weird that they say that because they're adjusting Melusi and Wamai, which we'll get into in a minute, we have identified an opportunity to enhance her roaming capabilities, and, you know, Ela's roaming capabilities, which I think is quite weird considering she is still a slow operator. I think if they really want to go all the way, just make her a 3-speed again. A fine change, it's definitely an improvement, but I still have absolutely no desire to ever touch this operator. I just don't see why I would bring her over Fenrir, or another operator who can concuss / disorientate the enemy team, or slow them down like Legion. There's just not really a place for Ela in my opinion at all. But at the end of the day, it is still a buff, and I cannot complain that they are buffing Ela in Year 9, considering I think she is pretty rubbish. Gridlock's track stingers have also received a buff. They are aiming to make them more lethal, since it doesn't really seem like people are scared to even run through them. So now they do 15 HP of damage instead of 10 HP. I think this is fine. I already think Gridlock's an amazing operator, and I'll happily take a buff to her track stingers because I do think you should be punished for walking into them. I'd actually even be open to making them stronger, but 15 HP is perfectly reasonable. And honestly, I don't really have much to say about that one. I think that's just a perfectly good buff, and yeah, that's great. Melusi, being one of the operators who did get an ACOG when they reverted the scope changes last season, has now lost it. So she is back to only having one-time scopes. However, they have given her an extra Banshee, which is kind of crazy. It's just going to be like an absolutely utility-heavy operator now, which I guess isn't a bad thing for this game, but with Fenrir on the board as well as buffed barbed wires, going against 4 Banshees is kind of going to be a pain in the ass. But another thing which I never really saw them doing, but I think works fine for Melusi's kit, is that they've added the Y9S to her secondary loadout, which is the pocket shotgun, which Frost has it these days, Mirror has it, Jackal has it. There's probably another operator who has it, and I can't think off the top of my head. But, you know, it's just like the same way Super Shorty gets given to operators, so does this one. It's just another Super Shorty, basically. But yeah, I guess that makes sense in Melusi's loadout. I'm not against it. I think it's fine. Never really saw it coming. I would kind of like them to add maybe like a new secondary shotgun to the game, so it isn't always just Super Shorty and ITA. But, you know, a fine addition. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just kind of concerned about how much of a utility dump she may become with 4 Banshees, but we'll see how it goes. But again, with this one and the next one we're going to talk about, it's just playing past the parcel with the ACOG again. It's just going to go to a different operator and people are going to gravitate towards that. So, you know, Melusi, yes, has lost the Banshee. Sorry, she has lost the ACOG and gained another Banshee and is still good. But that's just the same thing of the ACOG how it's always been. She got the ACOG last season. She's already lost it. And moving on to the next one, Wamai, he has lost the ACOG as well. Now, unlike Melusi, they haven't done anything to compensate for this. He is still the same speed. They've not buffed his weapons or given him an extra magnet. He is just plain old Wamai once again. So no ACOG. They do say it's because like the same concerns which happened with Alibi, Oryx, and Warden is that people were just playing it for the scope. And it does seem to be the case on console. Not necessarily the same case on PC, but I know a lot of people always say that, you know, Wamai is just better than Jaeger, and there's not really a point to bring Jaeger. I don't agree with that, but if that is the case, why don't we start buffing Jaeger instead of nerfing Wamai? Again, it just feels like it's another take the ACOG away, give it to another operator, which is Echo, and it's just becoming a bit tiring at this point. If you removed ACOGs from defense entirely and just kept them as an attack-only thing, I think that would really force defenders to play positions better, play off their gadgets better, and not just have these few select operators with ACOG, which a lot of, you know, frag-orientated people are going to play towards. If you want that playstyle on attack and it's going to benefit you, fair enough, but on defense, I don't think that's needed. But yeah, be sure to let me know your thoughts about the Year 9 Season 2.3 patch notes. I think they're alright. I just think they're a bit meh, considering how meh this season was. I kind of would like a patch note which was a bit more oomph to it. I mean, the Melusi change is cool. I think the ITA secondary is like the coolest thing in this, and I guess Ela impacts are fine, but she's still a bad operator. So yeah, for the most part, pretty bleh, nothing too crazy. But I guess we'll have to see how it goes, and hopefully there is a bigger patch next season because this one is a bit lacking. But yeah, be sure to let me know your thoughts. Have a great day. Peace.